Hello, every host, Coach Tripp. I've got a great show for you today. Thanks for watching the show here on Coach's Corner. We try to inspire and educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, and the body to act. Nobody exemplifies that more than our guest today. First, next week, we have Coach Al Miller, Hall of Fame strength coach. He is a 30-year veteran of the NFL, and he's on the Mount Rushmore of strength coaches in America. So you don't want to miss that next week. But first, today, Adron Chambers, two-sport athlete in high school, went to college to play football for my old coach, Sylvester Croom at Mississippi State. And then he got back into baseball, and you want to hear his amazing story and how he willed himself to a World Series ring with the 2011 St. Louis Cardinals. I hope you enjoy the interview. Have a great sports week, and talk to you soon. Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. I'm your host, Coach Paul Tripoli. Thank you for joining the show. We have a special guest today on the show. It's Adron Chambers, Pensacola High School alumnus and 2007 World Series champion with the St. Louis Cardinals. As you can see, we're all about the Cardinals. Hey, Age, thanks for taking some time to spend with us today.
Man, appreciate you, Paul. I see you got down here Adron Chambers 2011. I heard you say 2007. So I had to make sure you get that because I don't want nobody mad at me. The World Series team saying he wasn't on that team, but I was on the 2011 team. How you doing, though, man? It's good to see you. I got your message too about, having my daughter down here, man. I really appreciated that, man.
Oh, man, what a beautiful thing, boy. Tell us about your little girl.
How old is she now? I really believe that for some reason in my mind, when she was in her mother's womb, I was thinking that she was going to be a singer, right? Because I always played music. But, man, she is fast as I don't know what. So I kind of believe when people say I used to be fast, I'm still fast, but now I see it in her. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, I really just want to, she was my first child. So I didn't necessarily, I still don't know what I'm doing because I got my son, but at the same time, I didn't want to push sports on her, but she's responding very well when it comes to her father loving basketball, football, baseball. She's right there with me, man. So that's it's very nice to see him be. I'm waiting on my son to get older, so I won't have. She might be tricking me right now. You know what I'm saying? Please, dad. You know what I'm saying? But she's amazing, and I think it was the biggest blessing that ever happened in my life having my daughter.
My gosh, the apple doesn't far fall from the tree, my brother. Let's start out from the beginning. Your amazing story. You grew up here. Talk about your youth sports experience, the different sports you played. You were an excellent football player. We're going to get all into that in just a few minutes, but talk about growing up and your siblings and talk about your youth sports.
Man, it's amazing about my story. I feel like it's very unique. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to how the process of me getting to the major leagues, right? Sometimes everybody always asks me about the 2011 team, and I don't even think about the 2011 team as much as I think about my youth teammates that I'm still friends with to this day. But growing up in Pensacola, you already know the Emmitt Smith, the Roy Jones, the Derrick Brookses, the Don Suttons, the Jay Bells. I mean, I can keep on going on and on and on with the names of athletes here in Pensacola. But I always wanted to be an athlete. I always wanted to play sports growing up. You know what I mean? Everybody from my family wanted to be like Roy Jones, right? So we all went to his boxing classes that he had. Obviously, everybody wanted to wear number 22. And I actually have a unique story about the number 22 and the number 11, the number that I wore. But a story that people don't hear all the time is that I really started off at Warrenton Ballpark. I don't know if you remember that baseball complex that was out there in Warrenton. My uncle was the president out there, and that's where I started my baseball career. My mother didn't want me to play football. She was too afraid of me to go. I was the smallest guy on the field, you know. But a guy by the name of Jack King, he came out to the field one day, and a part of that story is I was in the neighborhood. I live off of Burgess Road, so I was really out there in the Ainsley type area, right? But my family, my grandmother, my grandfather, they were all downtown. So everybody kind of thought that I would be playing with Salvation Army and things like that because those were my friends. So one day we was all out in the field just playing throw them up, bust them up, a game where we just throw the ball up and whoever get it, everybody go tackle him, right? And Jack, he seen me running through everybody. This small little guy, I'm talking about the biggest guys couldn't touch me because I was just running fast through everybody, right? And so when Jack came to Warrenton Ballpark, he actually asked my mother, him and Mike Hall, God rest his soul, he said, can this kid come play football over at Motor Grove? And that's really where my baseball and football career kind of progressed, was at Motor Grove, which is sad that it's not continuing right now, that the whole program has kind of went down. Right. But my youth was very, very unique, man. I got so many stories that I can go into about my youth, and my sister passing away when I was young, having the Hammock family take me in, taking some of that pressure off my mom. Having a lot of my teammates that I was on a team with. I lived with a lot of these guys. I have a couple of my teammates. Matter of fact, I still write one of my teammates. He's doing 25 years right now, and we write each other all the time. And it's amazing to me that I'm still friends. Not that I'm still friends with him, but it's just a part of my story. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of the uniqueness of how I got to where I got. Even my incident in Mississippi State, man, is as bad as I hate talking about it. I hate bringing it up. It's like it's a part of me. You know what I'm saying? And I have so many small stories like that kind of help my story develop and help me as a young man growing up without a father. You know, my mother she would say she's my mom and my dad. You know what I'm saying? I said, Mama, you can't be my daddy. You just my mama. But she really played that role. You know what I mean? She taught me how to be tough. She taught me how to overcome. And then I had my brother, and my brother, Steven, he is really the sports guru. Like I wouldn't say that he's a better athlete than me, only because I'm little and I don't think nobody can beat me. But he's the one who really kind of taught me sports and taught me just the fundamentals of how to play the sport. You know what I mean? Even it was and I know I'm talking a lot, but even the idea of how, I remember us being in the yard and he would teach me when I was running the football how to fall. You know what I'm saying? Like because in football, you know, a lot of guys are afraid of the contact, the little kids afraid of the contact and things like that, because they haven't created that art of how you fall with grace in football. You know what I mean? When you taking a lick, it's a certain way you do that. And now just, you know, going back over a lot of these things my brother was teaching me, he was teaching me these things when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. You know what I mean? Even with baseball, how to hit. We would hit with, you know, I go to Colombia and Venezuela and they hitting with little bottle caps. Well, my brother was doing that with me when I was 4 years old. So me having that niche to be able to be a good hitter, you know, but not, you know, understanding that until I got older. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're cross-trained at a young age because of your older brothers. Exactly. That's not unlike my situation. I would have never made it in college or the pros if it wasn't for my older brothers. No doubt. And we were cross-training when we were water skiing, when we were on the beach playing football in knee-deep water, ankle-deep water. Yeah, we were cross-training and we didn't know it. But it really helped me, being the youngest of 4 boys, to be able to play with older, faster, stronger kids.
Isn't it unique? Isn't it unique that the sand that we have at our beaches, we just having fun, not realizing that sand is gonna help us. You know what I mean, with our technique. You know what I'm saying? It just
balance and muscles. Yep.
Exactly. It blows my mind that we had everything right here in my backyard. You know,
you're such a great story. So you get to high school, you're a basketball or you're a baseball and football star, and both both of our coach Sylvester Kroom means a lot to both of us, especially to you. But he's he took you on to Mississippi State, and he never abandoned you when you got in trouble. Everybody gets in trouble. Everybody gets in trouble once in a while. Everybody's not perfect.
Right.
I got in trouble in college at Alabama, and then they gave me a second chance.
Right.
But talk about what you learned from Coach Sylvester Croom, who is a great human being and a super coach.
Oh man, matter of fact, I just talked to him. I'm back in Florida now. And I just talked to him before I got here because I was introducing him to my future wife and my daughter. And it was just amazing hearing him. And I think he went in the Hall of Fame or something like that. It was some award that he was getting.
Right.
And that was the reason I was reaching out, because I was reading about it.
Yeah.
But Sylvester, I still remember a quote that I will never ever forget in my life. And I call it a quote only because he said it, but he said, "Stop feeling sorry for yourself." And he said it in practice one day, and a guy by the name of Calvin Wilson, who was like a 7-foot, 400-pound offensive lineman, a phenomenal athlete. He was trying to lose weight, and we was running our sprints, like we do, during the spring. And man, you talking about just the attitude. I mean, the guy's 400 pounds, 7 foot tall. Me being who I was back then, I was like, "Coach, give him a break. He can't run." You know what I'm saying? He can't. But Coach was like, "No, stop feeling sorry for yourself." You know what I'm saying? And that really, like, even after, you know what I'm saying, because that happened before my incident in Mississippi State. Even after what happened to me at Mississippi State, that's what his message was. His message wasn't, Adron, you're a terrible person, or I can't do nothing with you, or, I can't believe you. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Hey, listen, this is just a chapter in your book." And he's saying this the day of, like, this is just a chapter in your book. You're going to have to move on. You're going to be going to do great things. This man is telling me this same information the same time I'm making these mistakes. So for him to even have that type of understanding on how to communicate with a player, obviously he was with the Brett Favres and he was done his own time in playing football. But him having that understanding on the show us how and why of a great of a man he was, and still is to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's a great coach. He was my coach for 4 or 5 years at Alabama and Tampa Bay. He was there. And he learned a lot from Coach Bryant.
Exactly.
Coach Croom did, and
he loved talking.
He probably talked about Coach.
Oh my goodness, he got a picture. I think I talked about this with you one time. He got a picture at his house. I think the last time we did an interview, I called him on the show. He got a picture at his house, a big, huge picture of everybody on the sideline looking at the goal line. So Coach Bryant was in the middle, and everybody else on the side, and he's right next to Coach Bryant with the what's his name's on. And everybody is focused. He said, "Adron, what do you see?" He invited me to his house for dinner. And he was like, "Adron, what do you see?" And I was like, "Man, that's just, I see all of y'all on the sideline, and, all of y'all look focused." And he said, "Exactly. Everybody on this team was on one accord." And he believed in that. He was like, we all buy into what we're talking. If everybody buys in, we can do something with this. But if we have just one person that's looking off, it's not going to work. And for him to bring that into Mississippi State during that time after Jackie Sherrill, which I never got a chance to meet Jackie Sherrill, even though I heard great things about him. For him to bring that, because we was like down, people were talking about him. He wanted that job at Alabama, and they didn't want to give it to him. So for him to still have that type of understanding, man, listen, like I said, I still call him to this day. I call him my second father. You know what I'm saying? Like, I check on him. I see how he's doing. I check on his family. You know what I mean? So Coach Croom is very much so, and still I tore my ACL in high school. People don't even remember that. I tore my ACL in high school, and I committed to Mississippi State as a junior. I tore it as a senior. A lot of times schools are like, "You know what? I'm sorry, man. We got to use our scholarship for a guy that's healthier." And he kept my scholarship. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, man, just showed me, just what type of coach, what type of man he was to keep his word like that, man. And I'm thankful for him right now because it gave me a chance to obviously be a St. Louis Cardinal and be a part of a World Series team.
Yeah, talk about that transition from going from football back to baseball and having the people support you at Pensacola Junior College. It's hard enough to change positions in high school, but you did it in college. I'm actually reading Bo Jackson's biography right now.
Nice.
One of the best two sport athletes, him and Deion Sanders, I think, are probably the two best. But also, there was another safety in the NFL that played baseball as well. So there are a couple two sport guys. Did they give you inspiration to say, hey, I can make it in baseball now?
Before I even talk about myself, I remember right after the World Series, right? So the St. Louis Rams were still in St. Louis during this time, right? And so we got tickets to go to the Rams game. And this is right. Freddie Kitchens. I don't know if you remember that name, Freddie Kitchens.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he was matter of fact, coaching. I want to say he was over there. He was in town for something. And Coach Kroon was over there. But I remember being in St. Louis. We went to the Rams game right after the World Series. And it was something like, it was something that was going on. And Deion Sanders, Marshall Faulk, and Steve Mariucci were all at the game by the sideline. So I'm looking down, and Deion obviously is one of my favorite athletes. And I told Yadier Molina, Yadi was there. I was like, listen, I got to go meet Deion. So they took me down, escorted me down, and I got a chance to stand right next to Deion Sanders, right? I'm standing right next to him, and I'm over here like nervous and shaking, but trying to show that I'm confident too, because Deion wear confidence on his sleeve, on his eyebrows, everywhere, you know? I'm trying to be confident. So I looked at Deion, I'm like, you know, how you doing, man? My name is Adron Chambers. And he looked at me, he was like, oh, I know you. And I was like, first I was like, oh, shoot, you know me? You know what I'm saying? What's going on, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Deion, look, man, I'm really looking into, you know, Coach Kroon. I don't know if you know the name, Jarius Norwood. He was over there too at the same time, running back. And we kind of showed love to each other on the field. And I was like, listen, Deion, I played football, man. I'm really thinking about trying out, because Bill Parcells, who was Tony La Russa, they were really good friends. They came to spring training one time. And they were like, he was like, you still got it? You know, you still can do a backpedal? And I was like, listen, all I need is a trial. Just let me come out there. And Tony La Russa was like, no, get in he didn't want me to go play football, right? But I asked Deion, I was like, Deion, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? What kind of route you think I should take? And he was like, son, you playing the right sport. Don't worry about no football right now. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about you playing the right sport. Stick with baseball. And it was kind of surprising, right? Because I'm looking at him like the two-sport athlete, but then he got into, you know, it was hard for him. You know what I'm saying? It was hard for him to do both, and the wear and tear that happened to his body. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you know, I wish I would have paid more attention to baseball, because it had a lot more money, and at the same time, I could have played a lot longer too. And Deion was a really good baseball player. He was a really
it's really interesting how Bo Jackson went from baseball to football and back and forth. And it's what he was thinking about at that time, and injuries, and there's a lot that goes into it. You were drafted.
Going back to the Pensacola State College, though, you was asking me, you know, how was it making that transition?
Yeah.
The beautiful thing that I can say, and I tell everybody this, and as a matter of fact, I just told a young cat that plays for Tate High School right now. I said, man, I had family behind me, and my family was such a support for me, man. They came to all the games because they knew I needed it, right? They knew I needed that support after I'm all on ESPN and people not knowing what's my next move. I'm crying all the time. And it was like the tears of trying to figure out what am I going to do next with my life, right? And some of the biggest supporters that I like to give credit to is Doug Martin, who just he was like the coach of the year this past season, and Bill Hamilton, who they were both my pitching coach and my manager of the teams. And I tell you, man, I owe a lot to those two men, because they came in my house, right on this couch that I'm looking at right now, and said, we don't care what happened at Mississippi State. We want to help you become a better man. You come to Pensacola State College, and we're going to help that. We know you played baseball. We know that you was a good athlete. Well, you're not going to pitch like you did, but we are going to give you a chance to be our center fielder. And man, I made the most of my opportunity. And the St. Louis Cardinals were there drafting, or they had a draft and follow with a good friend of mine still, DeMarcus Ingram. And he was like he was like a big prospect for them. And when they came to look at him that same day, I went like 3 for 3 with 2 home runs or something like that. And they came up to me, Steve Turco, who was the scout that was out there scouting me. They invited me to Memphis, Tennessee for a tryout. I went to the tryout, was the only outfielder diving for balls, got my uniform all dirty. I was the only one out of 100 people out there doing this. And they pulled me aside and they said, we're going to give you $50,000. We're going to pick you in the 38th round. Take it or leave it. And I took it, and I was like, that's been my story, So
oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Like and it gets weirder than that. You know what I mean? It gets weirder than that, man. Like,
yeah, let's talk about the 2008 and 9 and 10 riding the buses, Quad Cities River Bandits, the Palm Beach Cardinals. You batted 283 with 21 stolen bases, 16 triples. And then 2010, you split time between Springfield Cardinals and the Memphis Redbirds. Mm-hmm. Tell us about those years and the minors grinding.
Man, I tell you that 2000, you asked earlier, like, how was the transition from football to baseball? And I tell you, I didn't really understand. I really thought it was going to be a lot easier, right? Because in baseball, you just standing there, right? The first practice, I pulled my hamstring. Now, this is the thing. I'm thinking that because of, I did come off an ACL tear, right? So I'm still battling that injury. But, with all of the sprint, all of the working out, I'm thinking that, I will be fit to be able to go. All of my tryouts, everything was good. But I tell everybody that I talk to when it comes to training, because I'm training a lot of athletes now. I actually have a camp coming up next week, next Tuesday.
We'll talk about that, yeah.
But baseball shape is a lot different from football shape.
How so?
Because understand this, even being a cornerback, right? You kind of, you're on an island, as they say, right? You're on an island. But in baseball, I'm the left fielder, and I might not get one ball hit to me for the entire game. And that last inning, that line drive that's right to the right of me, I gotta turn it on real quick. And now, if your body is not used to those fast twitch or tweaking, it's easy to pull a muscle or tear a ligament or something like that, man. So easy. And I didn't understand that. Even with the idea of trying to track a baseball, it takes so much body control to be able to run, see that ball, and stick your arm up at the last minute on a ball that's coming 100 miles per hour off the bat. Or maybe we just talking about 162 games out of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness. In football, you got at least 6 days where you can rest and then you will play the game. In practice, you can kind of take it easy. In baseball, every day is a game. Every day is practice. You know what I mean? So it was really like a
get used to the grind, get used to it.
Yeah. Shot, right. It was like a culture. I had to, because I came in this big guy, football, I'm thinking I'm tough, and these pitchers looking at me laughing like, man, you ain't in shape like we in shape. You know what I mean? I can pitch a baseball for 7 innings. Can you do that? You know what I mean? And I had to really learn that process. So Johnson City was the learning curve, I like to say. Then I went to Quad Cities. And Quad Cities, the amazing thing about Quad Cities is that I think I only hit like 235. But through the whole, I got Bandit of the Year. I was the only player on the Quad Cities team that lasted the whole season. So everybody else on that team was either coming down or going up, or a lot of guys got
going out,
going home. I was the only guy, so I got Bandit of the Year, and it's because of understanding that longevity. I had spurts where I was on a hitting streak, but I also had those spurts where I wasn't hitting too good, but I was making good plays on defense. I was stealing bases at the right time. Like, I still had a really good season, and they started seeing my potential. And then I got a chance to go to Palm Beach, and Palm Beach is really where everything turned around. Those 16 triples were the most in the major league and the minor leagues. I beat out Curtis Granderson, who was in the major leagues for the most triples out of the major league. I still hold that record of 2009 for having the most triples in the major league and the minor leagues. You know what I'm saying? And people don't know that. It's on the back of my car. It's the most triples in the major league, and they always put the major league and the minor league because Curtis Granderson, I think, had 15 or something like that, and I had 16. So Palm Beach was my turning curve, and that's where I first met Giancarlo Stanton, because we share fields with the Marlins, right? So I played a lot against Giancarlo Stanton over there, and that's when he was like a giant, man. I seen him hit 700-foot home runs, dog. It was amazing, right? And then I got a chance to go to what they call for where all of the prospects go, like a fall classic. What is it's Arizona Fall League. So I got a chance to go to the Arizona Fall League, and I did very, very well. I think me and Ben Revere had the most triples. I had a couple leadoff home runs. I was hitting like 330 or something like that during the process. And this is against Bryce Harper was there, Eric Hosmer was there, Mike Moustakas was there, all of the top athletes that were projected to be major league ball players. And I did well. And I was like this guy that came out of nowhere. So the Cardinals finally put me on the 40-man roster that right
was
after.
that September 2011, September 16th?
No, that was this was in 2009.
Okay.
2009. This was before the World Series. So I finally got on the roster, the 40-man roster. I got a chance to go to Springfield, and this is where the AA and AAA thing kind of came in. So they got rid of so I started off in Springfield, and I did very well in Springfield. I was hitting very well, doing everything I could. They actually had a guy by the name of Daryl Jones who was supposed to be our next outfielder that would go up to AAA because he was really looking at him. And I ended up getting the call. John Jay ended up going to the major leagues, and I ended up, because we got rid of we traded Kobe Rasmus. And when we traded Kobe Rasmus, John Jay went up to the big leagues, and I got the chance to go up to Memphis, Tennessee. And then from Memphis, Tennessee, I just started tearing everything up. You know, I was hitting, I was stealing bases, I was hitting, and I was a student. You know what I mean? Like I was the guy that would go up to Ozzie Smith and be like, Ozzie, you know, let's go out to dinner. You know, tell me something. You know, Willie McGee is just like the nice. My favorite player other than Yadier Molina is Willie McGee, and he wasn't my teammate, but he was just like the nicest guy to me. He always gave me information, and the way he spoke to me, he showed me so much respect. He gave me more respect than I gave to him, and that just showed me what type of person he was, you know. So my journey was very interesting, man. But at the same time, when I look back at it, man, it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of dedication, a lot of pay, a lot of ups, it was a lot of bumps, it was a lot of downs, it was a lot of crying sometimes. But man, it's something that I never trade. I never trade that experience in the minor league.
Was it September that you got your first
yes,
first hit, second at bat, knocked in the go-ahead run against Philly? Was that right?
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Talk about some of the big moments.
Oh man,
you were brought in for Lance Berkman, and you know, they walked Pujols to get to you.
That's right. Well, the amazing thing is my first actual at bat was in St. Louis, and my first appearance in a game, Tony was smart, man. He is smart, he is smart, right?
Yeah.
He was that guy that was he knew how to welcome a guy into the major leagues. Like he wasn't trying to put too much pressure on you or anything like that, especially when you got guys like Albert Pujols and Chris Carpenter. He didn't need to use young guys, you know what I mean, and hurt their spirits, right? So my first time ever entering into the game was coming in as a pinch runner. So I came in as a pinch runner. My next appearance came in, I had a bat the next day. It was a day game, and for Tim Hudson. And I feel like that was a hit. It was a ball hit up the middle. We didn't have review back then, but I hit a ball up the middle pretty hard. My man backhanded, and he threw it first. They called me out. So I still say that was my first hit, but obviously they recorded it as an out. But my second at bat, because it gave me so much, and the reason I say that because it gave me so much confidence. And I was like, after that, I was like, man, this ain't nothing. You know what I mean? This is just like Memphis. This is just like Springfield. Mm-hmm. It's just that, you know, you got, 40 more thousand fans looking at you. You know what I mean? But, but at the same time, it gave me that confidence. So that it was in Philly and Philadelphia. Oh man, we got the Philly cheesesteaks in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? So, and we got the chefs. Like, I'm really living it up, not even knowing that, this is about to happen to me that night, right? So we going through the whole game, extra innings come in. It was a tight game. And our season was like, we was like 10 games out or something like that. Like nobody was really looking at us as being like a World Series team at the end, right? We traded a lot of guys. We had Edwin Jackson come over, Mark Shazimsky, Arthur Rose came, Corey Patterson. All these new guys came the second half of the season, you know. So we was kind of like trying to figure things out. Mm-hmm. So Tony La Russa puts me in the game to go pinch hit, and in my mind, I'm even in batting practice, I'm trying to shine. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to shine for everybody. I don't care. I'm not wasting an opportunity just because it's a September call up. I feel like I'm a major league ball player. And man, I grinded out on that bat. It was one of those at bats where it was like I knew I was finna get a hit. Boom! I laced the ball in the 4-hole, and man, I really believe personally, but also. I gotta ask you, Eckersley. What isn't that his name? The closer for the Oakland.
Dennis Eckersley, right?
Right. He even said it on ESPN Live, and I wish I could. I never got a chance to meet him, but he gave me so much love after that hit because he said Adron Chambers just changed the St. Louis Cardinals season, and I can promise you, from that moment on, it was almost like. And I wasn't a home run hitter, you know. I wasn't. I was just an excited guy. Thankful to be on a major league roster. And man, our dugout, our locker room, it just seemed like it illuminated. You know what I'm saying? Like the guys were, I was the guy that was diving in the outfield for no reason. I mean, Arthur Rose would tell me, son, sit down. Why are you diving, getting your uniform done?
Oh, did the crowd rally? Did the crowd rally from that?
Exactly. So, but that was against the Cubs. So that was a few games after. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, after, but still, I'm still got this confidence, like I belong here. So even on that, which is the greatest moment to me, that Cubs game, because you already know the rivalry with the Cubs. They were beating us or like going into the late innings, and Tony La Russa put me in the game again, just to pinch run. And man, but before that, I look at Ryan Terrio and I look at Edwin Jackson, and everybody is still like we're moving towards like we're winning more games. Like we really needed this game to kind of help continue to boost us. And I was like that Energizer bunny. I was the guy running up and down the dugout with my batting gloves on, my bat in my hand, saying, "Hey, coach, put me in. I don't care." You know what I mean? They would go, "Shut up, go sit down somewhere. What are you doing?" You know, like they would always like tell me to shut, because I was like the I knew my place. Don't get me wrong. I was a rookie. I knew that, but I was so excited, man. I got a chance to. I seen my checks. I had them checks. They were way bigger than I was used to. I was around Albert Pujols, which was the greatest first baseman, especially at that time. He was the greatest ball player. Period. I'm able to Rafael Fakal. I'm able to be around these guys. I would be doing me wrong if I wasn't excited. So I said, "Hey, fellas, I'm finna get on top of this dugout and get everybody in this game." And they were like, "Do it." Okay, do it. So I grabbed me a towel. I stand on top of the dugout, and I started grabbing my towel, man, and all 40,000 people, I mean, everybody stood up out of their seats, man. And Tony La Russa brought me in the game, and I ended up scoring the game-winning run. And, man, that right there was just like the boost to let us know that, all right, we in this thing, and our confidence was, like, skyrocketed, man. Like, it was
wow.
Yeah, man.
What a blessing, man. To play with Tony La Russa, one of the greatest ever. Play with some of the greatest ever.
Dave McKay, man. I had some great guys next to me, man.
Your perseverance is really commendable, Adron.
No doubt. I appreciate that.
Even when you left the majors, you kept grinding and trying to get back, and you didn't stop playing until Ottawa 2019 was actually your last year.
And we ended up winning the championship in Ottawa too, with Hal Lanier. I don't know if you remember that name, Hal Lanier, which he was a Cardinal. He was coaching out there in Ottawa, and they asked me to come and play, and we ended up winning the championship in 2016 in Ottawa, Canada, man.
You played in Buffalo, New York, up close to my hometown, Ottawa in 2017. The Iron Pigs, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Yeah, man. I tried to make my comeback. That's when I started seeing things were different. You know, I was used to going into the batting cages and actually having batting practice, and and everybody over there was on the video games playing Fortnite before the game, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like what is going on? Like this ain't." I mean, if we was playing video games in St. Louis, they'll be cussing me out right now. Like, what you better go throw that game away. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was just a different style. And even though I was trying to make my way back, man, I was still kind of foggy about the whole situation. Even though I got injured again, I started out well. I was hitting like 400, man, and I injured my hand again. And then I was after St. Louis, I became really like injury prone. I was like damaged goods. I broke my shoulder, I broke my kneecap. So it was like, yeah, man. So it was like a whole bunch of things. Exactly. People don't even know these things because I just kept going through it. Like I knew that if I kept that injury, the teams wasn't gonna want me in it. This is 2014, 15, you know what I mean? So it ain't like it is now where they really, they really want you to, that injury stuff, they taking that stuff a lot more serious,
Yeah. Adron, let's talk about what you're doing now, man. Let's talk about your swing champ camp.
Yeah.
Next week for ages 7 to 10, 10 to 12:30, and for age 11 to 15, 1:30 to 3:30. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, man. The biggest thing is either you can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook. I also put my phone number down there to be able to reach. I kind of wanted to make this thing open, man, because to be honest with you, I love what I'm seeing here in Pensacola when it comes to the baseball. Pensacola State College. Matter of fact, I was with Brian, coach or the manager over there. I was with him a couple of days. 2 days ago. And the things that he wants to do for that program, the Wahoos, obviously, what Quint Studer is doing over there with the Wahoos. We also have a camp this Saturday at the Wahoos where they're bringing all of the ex-ball players back, like Hoskin Powell and all these guys. It's going to be a camp, too. As a matter of fact, that was in a paper on Sunday.
Is that the Fred Waters? That's the Fred Waters camp.
Right, exactly. Which I was a part of the Fred Waters camps when I was a young kid. You know what I mean? So them bringing that back and stuff, man, it just got me excited. And every time I come home and every time I'm here, people are always reaching out for me and asking me to work with their kids. Jalen, we call him Bug Moulton over there at Catholic High School. He just committed to Florida State. I worked with him when he was a young kid. Just so many kids not going to school and really playing good baseball. And I'm seeing like the impact that my organization really has on our community. I knew it was only right for me to do a camp while I'm in Pensacola. So I'm gonna be doing a camp. So it's gonna be a 3-day. It's gonna be 3 weeks, 3 days a week. It's gonna be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I wanted to kind of keep the Monday and the Fridays off for the parents.
Right.
And it's summertime too, right? It's gonna be at 10 o'clock in the morning. I have the times on the fly. I have the younger kids going earlier in the morning, which they're probably mad at me because they're like, "Why you ain't let the older kids go early?" But I got the older guys going in the evening. You know what I mean? Ages from 7 all the way. I put 16 and up. You know what I mean? So I've been getting a lot of calls. The biggest thing is, and this is what's important to me is, I got guys like Jake Woods and Willie Horton that you know what I mean, that inspires me, and they always preach the fundamentals. So I'm always and the beautiful thing about the athletes that I work with, all I showed them was the fundamentals, and now they're getting scholarships to Florida State and Florida. They're getting all these looks, and every time they go to these camps, all they say is, "It's the fundamentals, coach. Those fundamentals that you taught us, those are the same things that these coaches want." And so it kind of inspires me because it's like, all right, I'm doing something that's connecting. You know what I'm saying? It's continuing to connect to the baseball world. So
you've been given such a gift by God.
Yeah,
and
man.
that's how I got into coaching. Even though I was a little late, I was like 40 years old when I got into coaching. It was better late than never.
Exactly.
But I was so glad I did, to give back to the kids and share your knowledge and your gifts and your talents.
No
and
doubt.
That's what you're doing. So I'm proud of you, Adron. Everybody is. Coach Hobley, Coach Hamilton, Coach Hamilton, Coach Kroom. Everybody that you and I know, I'm sure, and even people I don't know, are proud of you. Thanks for coming on, Adron. It was a blast as always. And I'll see you Saturday up at Blue Wahoo Stadium.
Yeah, come on up there, man. If y'all got any kids or have any kids, bring them up there to the Blue Wahoos, man, to come see a lot of these older ex-players. You know what I mean? They're excited, man. It's very
850-287-7643. Is that all right? I need you. You can't see this because of my green screen, but I've got there's something in the water here at Pensacola with all the major leaguers from Litton to Jay Bell to you, Travis Fryman, Mark Witten. I got Phil Hyatt, Jim Presley, on and on.
Yeah,
You're just it on. You're the latest. We got Ben Lively, I think.
Exactly. Still balling. Yeah, he's with the Reds. He's still doing his thing, man. So proud of him too. Yeah, man. No doubt.
Peace, Adron. Yeah. It's great to catch up with Adron Chambers. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. Don't forget my show Monday. This show replays on Tuesday, Monday, and Wednesdays. We do Coach Tripp's Tips or the Bear Facts, or some Thursday local sports report. Don't forget, next week we have Hall of Fame strength coach from the NFL, Al Miller, my college strength coach. He is on the Mount Rushmore of strength coaches in America. You don't want to miss that. So everybody have a great sports weekend. Talk to you soon.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
Hey, Bill, some game, huh?
I haven't really noticed, Paul.
What? The biggest game of the year?
I've been looking over my insurance. Talk about problems I'm trying to figure out.
Well, do what I did. Call the Seiler Agency. They showed me what I needed and what I didn't. They even saved me money. Now, instead of worrying about my insurance, I can worry about the big game.
Contact the Seiler Agency at 476-7443 for all of your insurance needs. Your independent agent for home, auto, boat, RV, commercial, general liability, life, and sound investment strategies. Call 476-7443 today.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
Step One works so hard to get you in the perfect car. Looking for a better car buying experience? With the Step One Advantage from Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola, receive no-hassle market-based pricing or incentives by pre-ordering. Looking to sell or trade? Our dedicated team will even come to you. Plus, every vehicle sold at Step One supports local charities right in your neighborhood. Experience the Step One Advantage at Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola today.
75 years of service and high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Legal disclaimer, individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.